What the fuck is the Momo challenge? Bless you. Oh, hey. What are you guys doing here? I didn't expect you to be here so soon. Oh, stories, right? You come to my channel to hear stories? I don't immediately have anything ready for you. Well, you know what? Let's just look to see what the latest creepypasta is. On second thought, I don't think it's a good time to read creepypastas. Oh my god. My printer's out of ink. This isn't gonna work. Oh my god. Well, this'll do. I consider myself to be the luckiest man in the world, but I didn't win the lottery, strike oil in my backyard, or find a drop-dead beautiful girl. I survived. Let me explain. Last week I was cleaning my dorm with my roommate Alexander, but I just call him Xander or Alex. Everything was going as usual. Work was exhausting. We unpacked box after box, and then in parentheses it says, "Our room was also our U-Haul." I've read this a few times and I'm still confused about what that means. Does it mean like they live in the U-Haul, or did they put the U-Haul in the dorm room? I don't understand. We were sorting everything for what feels like decades. But it wasn't without fun. Occasionally, we would unpack a box and stumble upon some nostalgic item. Like our sound recording pens that we used to spy with in our freshman year, or old assignments that we thought were torture before, but now would be respite. We were having a discussion about invincibility. Alex insisted that some things were just plain old invincible, while I argued that everything has to have a weak point. Anyways, we were nearly finished when Alex shouted from across the room. "Hey, look what I found in this one," Alex exclaimed, grinning. I made my way over to him and traced his pointing finger to a box containing my old Sega Saturn. I couldn't believe it. My long-lost friend had returned. We both had a Saturn as kids. It was our favorite pastime. It was our childhood. A while back, Alex's Saturn had broken, and I had lost mine. But here it was, sitting in a musty box in the corner of our room. A whole piece of childhood memories and good times buried by adulthood had suddenly been unearthed. We had found treasure worth more than gold. Oh. Pure gold. Yeah, hello, GameStop? I think I have something you're gonna want. It's an NES that's worth more than gold. Oh. $6? Oh. Well, you want to play it or just keep standing there? Alex barked, jerking me back to reality. So, this kid was so amazed that he found an old Sega Saturn that he just zoned out. Also, I don't know if maybe some people out there just lose things like this forever. I find it hard to lose a whole console in your closet. Maybe this kid has a ton of boxes, but it sounds like he's moving into a pretty normal-sized dorm room, so I would have just assumed he knew what was in most of these boxes. Sure, I replied, trying to convince Alex. Trying to convince him of what? Postponing the rest of the cleaning, we removed it and hooked it up to our TV. Then we indexed the golden library of my old games. Whoa, you have International Victory Goal? Yeah, oh, I forgot about Sonic Jam. When we had browsed through everything, we set about what we should play first. We decided on Sonic 3D Flicky's Island. For several hours, we played through every game, reliving our childhood. It was nearly midnight, but we were going strong. Alex removed the next game from the pile. It was Sonic R. Ooh, Sonic R! The TaiLS doll's gonna get you, he said, laughing and tickling me. So in this world, the TaiLS doll creepypasta already exists. Which means this is a sequel to a story that already nobody takes seriously. It's already a creepypasta. It's just a fictional tale. And here we are. Wanna try the curse? He moaned. Oh, imitating a spooky voice. Wasn't sure what I was reading there for a second. Why not? I replied, frightened or so. I bet you don't even know what it is, he retorted. Of course I know about the curse. You play a tag race on Resort Island as the TaiLS doll, and tag Metal Robotnik, Metal Sonic, and Metal Knuckles, tagging Supersonic last. After that, the TaiLS doll is supposed to steal your soul. You know, a pretty normal sounding and pacing conversation where somebody just, recaps the plot of a whole creepypasta to you. It was all bullshit if you ask me, so they don't even believe it. It's established that this is just a myth. It's a story. Nonetheless, Alex grabbed the controller and had everything set up in less than a minute. The game started. The cursed song, Can You Feel the Sunshine, began playing. I'm going to leave a link in my description of this song, and you just let me know how terrified you feel listening to it. It's delightful. We were soon reminded of the difficulty of Tag Race. Even though I wasn't playing, I felt Alex's frustration as he narrowly missed Metal Sonic and Metal Sonic turned around. There were several moments of frustration throughout the race as we came close to tagging another player and then the opportunity snatched from us as we bumped into a wall, etc. After what seemed like hours, Alex finally tagged Supersonic, ending the race. We were both so relieved to have tagged him that we'd forgotten about the curse. So when the TaiLS doll picture popped up on my screen, we both jumped. Everything was silent for a few seconds as the TaiLS doll seemed to gaze deeply at us, as a predator gazes at his prey, inspecting his meal. We gotta set the mood. Hang on a second. Predator. Forgot about that, Alex said, breaking the silence. I was so preoccupied with the race. Yeah, me too. Well, this is boring. I'm going to go get some chips. Okay. I couldn't find any chips, but here's a Girl Scout cookie. I guess I'll get some too. I'm a little hungry. Going to get some chips had made me feel less afraid. I had an excuse not to look at that thing anymore. But even when I was out of the room, I knew the thing was still staring at me. What made it worse is that Can You Feel the Sunshine was playing in my head, and I couldn't get it out. After a few minutes of being out of the room, my fear had lessened. We began talking again about what we would play next when we got back. I wanted to play my ROM hack replica of Sonic Extreme, but Alex insisted on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Sonic Jam. That's a lot of Sonic. After our little banter about the next game, we went back into the room and were once again confronted with the TaiLS doll. Alex had won her argument. We would play Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Sonic Jam next. By this time, I had shaken off my fear and was ready to continue. Alex went to shut off the Saturn. My diminished fear returned, many times stronger than before. Alex had turned off the Saturn, but the picture of the TaiLS doll was still on the screen. Its eyes seemed a little blacker. Alex turned around and saw me, white with fear. So his friend Alex walks up to the TV, turns off the Saturn. Click, click. And instead of seeing something's a little amiss, there's still a TaiLS doll on the screen, he has to turn around and look at his friend and be like, what's wrong, man? Why are you so scared? Before realizing, What he just missed. What's wrong? He asked me. I didn't respond. My eyes were fixed on the screen. Alex turned back around and looked at the screen. Instantly, his jovial face was replaced with one of sheer terror. We were both silent for a minute. I turned it off. And it's still there. He went over to the Saturn and unplugged it, and then the TV. Nothing changed. The TaiLS doll was still staring us down, hungry for blood. What the fuck is happening? Why is this still here? I unplugged it. What the hell's wrong with this thing? He shouted. Go away! Go the fuck away! Shoot! Shoot, shoot, go away. Its eyes blackened even more. Oh. Hang on. Get out of here, you goddamn sick bastard! Alex was provoking it even more with his shouts. Go away, you fucking demon! The lights in our room cut out. Our faces were only illuminated by the light from the TV. Alex quieted down. Can You Feel the Sunshine was playing again. We both sat and listened. Finally, the TV turned off, leaving us in pitch black darkness. What the fuck was that? Alex whispered to me. Tomorrow, I'm going right to the dean's office and filing a complaint. About what? I'm getting new lights, a new TV, and a new goddamn dorm. Do you hear me? This kid's blaming this whole episode on the dorm? He's gonna go to the dean's office and be like, my dorm is haunted. I need a new one. I wasn't listening. I was distracted by the red light glowing faintly from across the room. I started to get up, in anticipation of its moving closer. Alex was still shouting at me. Why are you yelling at me? I tapped his shoulder and pointed to it. He saw the light and shut up instantly. I was standing up now. Heater, I whispered to him. He seemed to understand. We had a heater in our dorm room that was sealed off with iron doors. I'm from Arizona. We don't have heaters that are independent in their own room, especially ones that are sealed off by iron. Is that a thing? Are there dorm rooms out there in other states that have to have like a separate room just for a heater that's separated by an iron door? I mean, we have a need for air conditioning in Arizona, but even that isn't its own independent room. Now, I shouted. The lights shot toward us as we began to run to our safe haven. It nearly missed me as it flew past me. I caught a glimpse of its face. As I had suspected, the light was coming from the red orb mounted on top of its head. He had a mouth stitched closed and one ear seemed to be bitten off. Oh. The worst part was his eyes. Two fathomless black voids staring into my soul. He shot past me and landed in a pile of boxes. We kept running towards the heater. I was always the faster of the two of us, so I was about 2 feet ahead of Alex when it happened. I took a quick glance back to see the red light rising from the rubble. I also saw Alex's terrified face, trying desperately to keep up. To keep up the 2 feet that's between them, which is, not too far away as far as I knew. Also, how big is this dorm room? It feels like they've been running for minutes and minutes on end. Like, is this heater a football field away from where they were in their dorm room? The light shot towards us again. I saw it disappear behind Alex. Tony! He shouted. Then Alex fell forward, revealing a bloody claw emerging from his head. He'd given me the time I needed. With one great Herculean effort, I flung open the door to the heater, darted inside, slammed it shut, and jammed it, just in time to hear the metallic bang of something hitting the other side. It was something. I'm sure it wasn't the doll that was after them. It was definitely something. I was safe. For now. I heard pounding from the other side of the door, followed by scraping, which sounded similar to nails on a chalkboard, but 10 times worse. The scraping subsided to pacing, which then gave way to silence. The only sound to be heard was the humming of the heater. It was now that the impact of what had happened hit me. Alex was dead. I was trapped. There was a demon on the other side of the door. I felt like crying, but I didn't. Because I'm a man. I was too shocked to cry. Because I'm shocked. For a long time, I was at the mercy of my emotions. After a while, I regained control of myself and began to think logically. There was no more sounds coming from the other side of the door. Was it gone? Could I get out? That's what it wants me to think. Yeah, this kid is smart. It wants me to think that it's gone so it can rip me apart when I open the door. Yeah, see what he did there. Other times, my tidal wave of grief crashed down on me. A few times I thought of giving myself up so that I wouldn't have to suffer anymore. Fortunately, I stopped myself before I might have done anything stupid. I had thought of every way I might be able to leave my confines other than the door. The only other way was through the heater itself. And if I went through there, I would burn up instantly. What is this heater that he's talking about? It sounds like it's like a ventilation system. Why does that need its own room, though? I just imagined it was like a water boiler, which is like a big tank. We have those, but you can't go into that or through it or anything. So I don't know what this thing is he's talking about. I kept trying to think, but there was something that always stopped me. The cursed song kept playing through my head. Whenever I would think I had found a way that would work, that song would play in my mind and make me forget my plan because of my fear. I just forgot what I was thinking about because I'm scared. Can you feel the sunshine? Sunshine. Sunshine. That was it. I figured it out. I knew its weak point. Memories of my conversation earlier with Alex came back to me. I had said that everything had a weak point. Now I knew the TaiLS dolls. It's a strange sentence to say. The song wasn't a curse, it was a blessing. It told you how to beat the TaiLS doll. His weakness was sunshine. Oh, so the theme song that plays every time this demon shows up is instructions on how to kill it. I see. For a moment, I felt relieved. I felt that everything would be okay. But then I remembered where I was. There wasn't any sunshine in my dormitory. All the blinds were closed. And it was night. Or was it? How long had I been in here? Maybe hours. It might already be morning. I didn't have a watch or a phone, and there was no clock in the room. I couldn't tell what time it was by guessing either. My grieving might have been hours or maybe minutes. You know, millennials really have it easy. You guys always carrying around your cell phone. It always tells you what time it is. If you didn't have that, you guys would be lost. You'd be wandering around at 2 a.m. not knowing what time it is and where you're supposed to be. You'd all just be lost chickens. It didn't matter. I only had one chance. Its weakness was sunshine. I mean, maybe you just kind of made that up on the spot. How do you know for sure that's gonna work? So somehow I had to get it outside. Okay, so what would be quicker, in your opinion, walking out of the room to open a blind and possibly have some light shine into the room, or finding a way out of a building? That you decide. I was beginning to think of what I would have to do to make sure that I could outrun it. I had seen how fast it was before. How could I outrun that? I couldn't think. Nope. How can I outrun? Well, I don't know. I was getting desperate to leave. I mustered up all the courage I had and flung open the door. No plan, just, let's go. It was still there. It had been waiting that whole time. But I had anticipated that. I kind of wish somebody would have, walked into the door, like the dean, to make sure that they were, settling in okay, and just sees this evil doll sitting outside the heater room, waiting, just hanging out. As soon as the door opened, I was out. This may have been the scariest moment in my life. I nearly ran into it. With one giant leap, I cleared its head, rolled on the floor, and made it to the door. So this room that they were just running through, that seemed like it was the size of a football field, he could just get to the front door in one, just a jump and a roll, like an action star. I think it tried to sabotage me when I left the furnace. It didn't matter. I was still being chased. What? How? What? Yeah, I mean, it was there. Is that how it tried to sabotage you? It was just sitting there? I tore into the hallway, dashing towards the exit. It seemed that the blackout earlier had affected the entire building, because all the lights were out here too. There was a blackout? I mean, I know the lights in the room went out, but I assume that was because of the curse, and that it wasn't like a whole building situation. Alright. I could see a red light reflecting off the wall ahead of me. It was in the hallway, too. With all the speed I had, I made it for the exit. By now, the thoughts in my head had reached a fever pitch. If it was night, I was dead. He still doesn't know. He still didn't see like a crack of sunlight through the window when he left his room. He was just so distraught. He still has no idea what time of day it is. But when I looked back, I didn't care anymore. What I saw made me go all the way. I turned my head, and once again I saw its two black eyes fixated on me. Its sewn-up mouth twisted into a smile. Then the strings holding it closed broke, and it opened its mouth, revealing something bloody. Teeth so sharp at their tiniest point they were smaller than a plank length. What's a plank length? With blood dripping from the sharp tips. Oh. I also saw blood on its arms from where he stabbed Alex in the head. The blood spelt 666. I had finally made it to the exit. My hand grasped the handle, and with one mighty shove, I pushed the door open and ran out. I could never be more thankful. The golden sunlight illuminated the dark corners of my eyes, basking my skin in its warmth as I leapt out, but the TaiLS doll wasn't far behind. A second after I came out of the door, it did as well, still grinning with its sharp, bloody teeth. But then it stopped, as if it was struck through the heart with a sword. It began to scream. Its head pointed skyward, its shrill scream piercing my eardrums, as it climbed to the volume of a rocket engine. Goodness, you're probably deaf by now. Then at once it was enveloped in flames. It began flailing wildly as its skin boiled and blackened, and small bits of it breaking off and blowing away in the wind. He had burned to a crisp. All that was left of him was the red glowing gem. I decided to keep it as a trophy for my victory. A few weeks later, I sworn I saw the TaiLS doll face in the TaiLS doll's face in the gem, mouthing the words, "I will come back, and you know it. Can you feel the terrors of the dark?" So we're just assuming nobody else in that entire school saw or heard that, and everybody just went about their day after that happened. And it worked! I mean, good for him. He somehow figured out the weakness of this evil doll. It's just throw it in some sunlight and you're good to go. Is that really all it takes? Ah, Arizona. Well, that didn't work, and now he's mad at me. But of course, no good story can go without its comments section. So let's read some of the comments. I was reading in day, but still creepoo. Is this for real? Like someone has experienced this in real life? Awesome. By the way, I've got a bone to pick with you guys. My viewers, my fans, my mad tea party. Everybody's told me that the comments section of YouTube is supposed to be this vile place full of goblins, and you guys are stupid nice. Like, not living up to the stereotype of YouTube. In all honesty, you guys are some of the nicest people I've ever seen on the internet. You support me no matter what crazy thing I'm doing with my channel, which means a lot because I'm kind of not sure what I'm doing with it right now. I'm just kind of having fun, and I hope you guys are having fun along with me. I want to keep doing more creative content like this. Narrations are fun, but it always felt like I was taking somebody else's work and somebody else's visual and somebody else's picture for a thumbnail, and it was very little my own creation. So right now I'm trying to explore more creative options and just hopefully entertaining you guys in the process. So I appreciate you bearing with me while I figure out what I want to show you. In the meantime, if you guys aren't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. I've always wanted to call you guys my mad tea party because I kind of feel like we're all just hanging out and having a good time like you would do at a crazy tea party in a twisted wonderland. So please subscribe, join the tea party, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.